Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Ropes, where in this week's episode, I wanted to get Laurie's insights and expert knowledge, because last week I put out a video.
Too kind.
No, I mean, it's the God's honest truth. Last week I put out a video which was around the most protected boxers of the modern era, and you guys went crazy in the comments. It was so great to hear from you, and based off of the comments that came through, I wanted to put out a part 2. So a lot of different names came up. Some of the ones that I picked out that I think are very relevant are as a part 2 to the part 1 edition. If you haven't watched part 1, I'm not going to go over it now. Go and watch the video. But the names that I'd like to put out are Tyson Fury, Canelo Alvarez, Ryan Garcia, and I think there's probably something to be said about Virgil Ortiz as well. Our producer is absolutely obsessed with Moses Atalma, so maybe we'll do a little honourable mention of him once again, because again, it did come up in the comments actually.
Just for context, when you say protected, tell the people, like, I know, but just for those who might be watching for the first time, when you say protected,
what do I mean by that? Yeah, so essentially what I mean by that is that through every era there is certain boxers who are thought of as favourable, and through that favourability they kind of garner a certain type of protection. Now that protection can come from promoters, it can come from managers, it can come from sanctioning bodies. So, you know, it's quite a broad term that we're using in terms of protected. It's a broad brush. Lovely. Alliteration. Hello. So, you know, I think the different fighters that we've mentioned as part of the part 2 episode are protected in different ways. And that's what I want to kind of get into. And I definitely want Laurie's insights. So starting off with Greedy Belly, Tyson Fury.
Greedy Belly, I love that name.
It's so good, isn't it? A lot of fans, boxing fans, would say that he's protected. And I guess from my perspective, that protection, what it looks like and what it comes down to is, you know, maybe lacking a depth of resume.
Yeah.
You know,
definitely applies in his case, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. In some cases, judging that has gone in his favour.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Who can forget the long count?
Exactly.
Who can forget the Otto Walling, the cut? I mean, 9.9 times out of 10, that fight would have got stopped and he would have lost. But somehow the referee allowed him to carry on. And he did win the fight, but what I'm saying is, let's be honest, a cut like that, the referee stops it. But, you know, he was allowed to fight on.
Exactly. And also, speaking of that exact same scenario replaying itself, I believe it was in the first Usyk fight where he was almost out on the ropes.
Yeah.
What was it, round 9? He was like out on the ropes.
There was about 20 unanswered punches. At one point, the ropes kept him up.
He was like looking in outer space, like it was a lot.
But yet he won that fight.
Yeah,
it's only because of the Ukraine war. I mean, come on, Tyson.
Yeah. Give it a rest, Greedy Belly. Give it a rest. So yeah, I think that definitely the judging, the favorability. I think as well. You know, when I watched the Francis Ngannou fight, even though Francis Ngannou is a crossover combat dude, like he's come from, you know, MMA. He
lost that fight, man.
He lost the fight.
We did a watch along, and we all, I forget all the other people that was here, but there was about 5 of us, and we all said in unison that he lost the fight.
He lost it.
Most people I spoke to said he lost the fight. I mean, he got it, he edged it on points, you could say, but I felt he lost.
I think he lost that fight, and I think he definitely underestimated Francis Ngannou going in, because he just, it was crazy. Anyway. And then I guess the third reason, although I do want to talk about the lacking depth of resume in a little bit more detail, but the third reason is obviously, you know, the drug scandal and, you know, it getting brushed under the carpet or market, as someone said earlier, brushed under the carpet.
I know it was his
yeah, we don't know. Yeah. And he kind of did like a silent ban. Yeah,
that was, even to this day, you know, you hear people, they quite rightly have a go at people like Conor Benn, but they never mention Fury. And there's another couple of names I could mention as well. Canelo really gets mentioned in that breath. So, yeah, I would agree with you there. He appears to have kind of, you know...
Swerved that one.
Yeah, swerved it, you know, slid under the radar, whatever you want to call it.
Under the market.
Been treated favourably. Under the market. Over the market. Been treated favourably. people not mention it. Even your more esteemed and more popular commentators, they never seem to mention it.
Exactly.
So I'm glad you have, because it's facts.
Yeah, it's facts.
What we're saying here is not speculation, it's facts.
Go and have a look, guys.
He failed the tests, and that's that.
Yeah.
Drugs cheat.
And then I guess back, circling back to the first point, the depth of resume, that question mark around that, if we really think about it, he's only really beaten Klitschko, who was arguably past his prime at the time, and Deontay Wilder, who, for all of the stuff he's done in boxing, I have always said the guy's a one-trick pony.
It's a big trick, though, isn't it?
It's a big trick, yeah.
Right,
Can't deny that.
When Deontay Wilder was in his pomp, which is, let's face it, some years ago now, although it was a one trick, it was
a good trick. It was a hell of a trick. Yeah.
And to be fair to Fury, what I would say, even though the resume could be better for the fighting man, no man born from his mother, even though
greedy belly,
even though he has been, let's face it, a modern day, if not great fighter, certainly one of the best fighters in recent years in the heavyweight division. There are question marks against the resume. The two best wins are clearly Klitschko. Is that 2015? That was an aging Klitschko. But then Klitschko had been unbeaten in several years before Fury rocked up and beat him in Dusseldorf in Germany, which was in effect at that time, because he's been Ukrainian. That was like a hometown fight. So for Tyson Fury to go over there, relieve him of the title, and it wasn't a close fight. It was a boring fight, but he won it, and he won it clearly. So to beat him was a great achievement. And similar with Deontay Wilder, Deontay was banging everyone out. So to be fair to Tyson Fury, even though people look back on it now and think, it's only Deontay Wilder, it wasn't great.
It's easy to look at that now with
in retrospect, look at it and think, it wasn't order. But at the time, it was big. And we also have to give Tyson Fury credit, because remember, he came out of a kind of retirement, didn't he, where his weight had blown up and he was all over the place. There was reports of him abusing alcohol and other substances, and he came back, lost the weight, drew that first fight. A lot of people thought he won it. And then he went on to beat Deontay Wilder a couple of times after that.
That's right. No one's taken away from his achievements, but just there is definitely a lack of...
in retrospect, in context.
Yeah, exactly. There is just a lack of depth, I think, to his resume. Anyway, moving swiftly on, Canelo Alvarez, another name that always crops up when we're thinking about protected boxers. Now, why is that? Firstly, I think the main reason is, he is so picky with his opponents. And I think the most obvious one of that is his utter resolution to continue to duck David Benavidez.
Yeah, that's been quite poor on his part.
Like, very, very poor. You are, at some point you were holding titles, all this, not giving this guy the opportunity. And that, not just that...
You know what got me is when he started saying things like, what has David Benavidez won? When literally David Benavidez was one of the youngest world champions at 21, at the same time which Canelo was fighting, let's face it, scrubs.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he was quite happy to fight.
Yeah, it's hypocritical.
The Turkish guy. What was the Turkish guy that he dug up and fought? It was a former sparring partners of a Canelo.
That's
All of a sudden he got a world title shot. But then you don't want to fight David Benavidez, asking what has he done?
Yeah.
Again, you do have to put it into context. Canelo is going to go down as a great fighter. I certainly would call him that. I mean, his longevity, the amount of titles he's won. Yes, he has jumped up and down in weight. And, as... Melissa quite rightly says, he's been very, picky with his opposition at times, but he is a great fighter. But nevertheless, you are right to question the way he has kind of circumvented some of the challenges in his way. I know he went on to beat Jermell Charlo, but there was a time when the other brother, Jermell Charlo, was doing big things at middleweight. We wanted to see them fight. That never happened. We wanted to see him fight Demetrius Andrade. That never happened. And like I said, there has been that knock on him throughout his career that he's kind of swerved some of the better guys when they're in their prime. So
yeah, absolutely. I think that's a completely fair remark that he's done some swerving. He's also, as you said, achieved some amazing things, and he will go down. He was pound for pound for so many years, right? And there's a good reason for that. However, just more on the topic of him being protected in the sport, obviously holding titles means that he is being he's essentially holding titles for sanctioning bodies, right? Like the WBC, etc., etc.
He has a very good relationship, very good,
with the WBC.
In fact, some would say too good relationship with the WBC.
Right, which brings me on to my point that the WBC, it's in their benefit to keep him at the top. So what that means then is that when people want to face him, like they're having to come up and down to his way, to where he's at, where he wants to fight, because
catchweight special. Yeah.
Right, because the WBC benefit from keeping him there. So there's an additional layer of protection from the WBC in terms of that. Then, of course, the other reasons why people say that he's protected is like we can all cast our minds back to the first Triple G fight where it resulted in a draw, but most people, by and large, said that Gennady Golovkin won that fight.
Won it clearly.
And yet he got the nod because they wanted to keep him at the top there. They wanted the commercial value of having the second fight, which then went on.
To be fair, he did win the other two fights.
He did. But
then even that was shrouded in some controversy because that was round about the time when he got caught for the
Mexican meat.
Yeah. So, surprise, surprise, another drug scandal as well. So.
Yeah, there's a common thread.
Yeah, recurring theme there, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah. So Canelo Alvarez.
And even him as well. I remember when he served his ban, I think it was like a 6-month ban. He only fights twice a year anyway. So in effect, that ban was totally a non-entity. It was ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's such an interesting way to treat some boxers who get done for drugs and others in very different ways. Some call it a protection.
Yeah, if I remember rightly as well, didn't after the WBC they lowered the levels of the of the substance that was found in his system. So they basically said the threshold was increased after that because Canelo was claiming that. What was the substance? Clenbuterol that was found in the meat. He said that it appears naturally in meat in Mexico, and so they somehow finagled the WBC to increase the levels so that in future, if you had that much in your system, you'd still be allowed to fight.
It's amazing. It's actually amazing when you think about the things that the WBC do and get away with. Moving on to the third boxer that I want to talk about today, Ryan Garcia.
Oh, one of my favourite fighters.
Yes, one of your favourite fighters. Yeah. A lot of people would argue that early on in his career, he didn't face top contenders. And so he had this sort of like almost padded career. And alongside that, he built a really big social media presence, which then afforded him a lot of grace with promoters because he became a commercial, due to his commercial viability. So there's that element of it. But I think the main thing for me that stands out is obviously he fought Devin Haney. He then gets found out for taking drugs, another drug scandal, but not a scandal. I mean, proven.
Again.
Yeah.
Must be.
Guys, stay away from drugs. Yeah, drugs are bad, okay?
Just say no.
Just say no. He gets found out for taking drugs. The fight, his win against Devin Haney then gets negated because obviously, he was on the drugs. So it then comes as such a surprise that guess who? The WBC once again steps in and gives this guy a world title opportunity to challenge Mario Barrios for his WBC title, which he then wins. And now he's a world champion. It's incredible. It's crazy.
Yeah. So he fights Devin Haney, cheats. He won the fight, but then the decision was declared a no contest. He then fights Rolly Romero. He's gifted a title shot there. He gets beaten comprehensively, dropped, didn't want to lose a wide decision, and then finds himself given a title shot at WBC champion Mario Barrios, a fighter which, let's face it, certainly in terms of talent, people always knew he was likely to win that fight, and now he's a world champion.
It's amazing. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing story.
Crazy.
Of the WBC
totally
and their absolute audacity.
Totally undeserving.
It's crazy.
It's a disgrace.
Yeah. And I guess the last thing to say, I'm just, as I always say on these episodes with Laurie, because I have such fun talking about boxing with you, I am conscious of time. So I think we'll leave the Virgil Ortiz conversation for another day. I just do want to, ask you guys, because obviously our producer can't stop talking. He can't keep Moses Talma's name out of his mouth. I personally feel, and I said this in my last video, I don't think that he's being protected. I think he's being developed. He's extremely young.
Yeah, there's a difference.
I think there's a difference. And I think that it's fair to say that he hasn't had enough rounds to be facing maybe top contenders at this particular stage. And hopefully this year that will change for him. But a lot of people would say that because he declined the fight with Frank Sanchez Sanchez for the IBF Eliminator, that he didn't put himself in contention to potentially face Usyk. Now, Usyk has most recently said in an interview that he wouldn't even face Moza Talman because he doesn't want to break him because he's too young. I find all of that quite interesting, but I'm very keen to hear your thoughts. But before we wrap up, guys, just a small request. I am only 8 subscribers away from the 1K mark. So if you could do me the favor of hitting the subscribe button, I'd be much obliged. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Laurie, any last words?
No, only what you said, I reiterate. Get out there and smash the like button, tell your friends, spread the word. And yeah, let's get Melissa over that, 1,000 mark, which I'm sure you'll do.
Thank you.
With ease.
Thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And we'll catch you on the next episode of Beyond the Ropes.